Welcome back to the AZ Wildcats podcast. I am today's host, Erika, joined by esteemed Jason Scheer. How are we today on this fine Friday?
Splendid, Erika. I'm very proud of you. Happy birthday.
Thank you, Scheer. Thank you. And we're also joined by my favorite producer of all time, Mr. Kevin Thomas, behind the scenes. Shout out to him for running the X's and O's for us on this fine Friday morning. I'm so excited to be here with you guys, but what I'm most excited about is actually this watch party we have tomorrow at Bourbon and Bent, ahead of our game, Arizona's game against UCF. Listen, you guys, you have one opportunity to come celebrate my birthday and watch some football, and I don't see any reason that you should say no. This is going to be a great time. As Joseph in the comments says, cake, candles, Erika cake, and candles. Yes, indeed. Tomorrow's watch party at Bourbon Bent, presented to us by NUTRL. It's going to be a good time, extra good time, because again, I'm going to be celebrating my birthday and we're going to hopefully be watching a big old Wildcat W versus UCF. Do you believe in Arizona's capability to give me that, Scheer?
Yes, slightly. Why not? Why not Arizona? How come you're not in that picture? We got to get you in that picture.
You know, that's actually a really good question. We do need to get that graphic updated because it would sell better with my picture in it. I already know that is the case. You're not wrong. Big shouts to you guys in the comments for joining us today. And if you're over on Twitter joining us live, be sure to click the link down below and join us in the YouTube comment section. But anyways, we got big news today. Let's start out with Jacob Manu having surgery. Scheer, this is big for Arizona.
Yeah, I mean, look, we knew Jacob Manu had a season-ending injury. Didn't really know what it is. I guess the picture doesn't really say what it is either, but the word is that it was a torn ACL. Surgery required for it means it was, not able to be rehabbed the old-fashioned way. But, now it kind of enters the recovery phase, and he's probably going to have decisions to make about next season and returning to Arizona and all that. But it's another indication that one of Arizona's captains on the defensive side of the ball is out for the year.
Yeah, and I mean, when you look at this UCF team, what kind of challenges does it present on the offense that Jacob Manu could, help us out with?
They run a lot. Like they don't even really try to pass too much. The only reason they pass is to keep the opposing defenses honest. They are, I think, like they're fifth in the country in rushing yards per game. They might even be higher. They average like 270 rushing yards per game. RJ Harvey is their starting running back. He is a bad dude. He's going to go down as UCF's like all-time leading rusher. It's tough if you're Arizona, right? Like you have Tay Brown and Kamu, and you either trust them and go with the two linebacker set, or you go in the dollar package and take your chances there. Although dollar against the run wasn't all that great against West Virginia, so it's a tough decision Arizona has. But missing Jacob Manu, and then a couple of weeks later facing a run-heavy team. There's a lot of challenges, especially because the quarterback run game for UCF is going to be there as well. That's their goal. They're going to use Harvey. They got a couple other running backs, and then no matter who they start at quarterback, he's going to be able to run, and that's really going to challenge Arizona's linebackers.
And then I see a comment from Zona Tucson 93. I don't think Kobe Hudson is playing for UCF. Is that big? Big news?
Yeah. He's their best wide receiver. He is questionable to doubtful. Losing him would be big for Arizona. It would be very, very helpful. They have a Jacoby Jones as the backup, and he went for over 100 yards last game in the loss to BYU. But if RJ Harvey is their best offensive player, Kobe Hudson is second. So that would be a big deal for Arizona.
And then to answer Joseph's question, a run-centered team, has anyone mentioned Flo? What do you think the odds of us getting Flo in this game are?
None. Zero. But you mentioned Flo. You mentioned Flo every day.
I always mention Flo.
It's like a daily Erika Flo update.
And I've been dissatisfied with the updates for quite some time at this point.
I'm not even sure. My guess is he didn't travel. He's redshirting. And you're going to have to keep your fingers crossed that he's on the team next year.
Jason Scheer, this is disgusting. Absolutely vile takes. I'm over it. I've had enough with the coaching staff not seeing the value in Justin Flo. Even we'll talk about him not traveling with the team. And I said this on my post game a few weeks ago. Leaving the vibes at home is not a good way to win football games.
Yeah, I mean, they get like 70 guys travel, and usually, if the guy's not playing, you don't travel them. But you're right, the vibes aren't there. Like I miss, and I'm not going to sit here and pretend like Justin Flo's the best linebacker in the country, but I miss the special teams flow where he's jumping up and down and doing the machine gun dance and all that, and then he goes and he tries to kill someone. That's missing on special teams. I don't know if it's coincidence that special teams has not been good since Justin
Right.
the decision to redshirt.
I do not think it's a coincidence in the slightest. I actually think it's extremely correlated at this point.
If Arizona doesn't win, we are single-handedly, we're just blaming the lack of flow. Nothing
Right.
else. I don't care if they let up 3 points and still lose. It's all Justin Flo's fault.
Oh my goodness. We got our early super chat from my good friend Tyler McDowell Blinken. Happy birthday to one of my favorite people. Big shouts to you. I remember our conversation in January about what this year could bring. Your ambition and talent continue to amaze us all, Erika. God, I hate that I'm reading this about myself. Sending you all my love on your big day. Bear down. Absolutely, Tyler. Big shouts to you, Tyler. Thank you for that. And you guys know that this show has been literally the biggest blessing of my life. So big shouts to all of you in the comments for making this possible in any way, shape, or form. And to answer Andy Bryan's question, what's worse, Erika, Flo not traveling or Gunner torn ACL? Listen, both are traumatic to me for various reasons, but at this point, I'm gonna say Flo not traveling on my birthday is just kind of sick work by this coaching staff.
Yeah.
Diabolical, if you will.
Yeah. I mean, you think very highly of both players on and off
I've
the
been
field.
sending tweets of trying to, push my agenda, and they're just not listening. I don't know if like Dwayne doesn't. He said yesterday in his presser, I guess he doesn't read much socials, but like, can we get Dwayne
Yeah.
McKenna back on the social so he can see my tweets about Flo?
Yeah, we're gonna text him about Flo, and we're gonna get down to the bottom of this. We're gonna make it
Okay.
very, very. He's gonna know that Erika disagrees with his personnel decisions.
Do you think anyone has told him it's my birthday and that they should get Flo on the private jet to UCF now?
Ooh, that's a good point. Why can't Flo? Flo's got all these deals. Why can't he just pay his own travel?
Doesn't he
Why
drive like a
can't he pay?
Ferrari, a Sanderson Ford Ferrari? He could get
Yeah,
there quick.
yeah. I mean, he's got a car with like 18 different colors in it. Yeah, he's fine.
Well, Kevin, if you want to go ahead and bring up the stat comparison for UCF and Arizona, this is a real good graphic that Kevin's made for us. This is a battle of 2, 3, and 5 teams. Both are 1 and 4 in conference. The big slight here is that UCF does put up a few more points per game with 30.4 compared to Arizona's 23.3. And then the defense, they've allowed 28 points per game versus UCF's 27.1. And Arizona's 16 turnovers have really, really hurt them. I mean, what, 3 of those were in the last game? Is that right, Scheer?
Yeah, they turn it over in bunches too. So it's not like a 1 turnover game. When they turn it over, it's like 3 at a time.
Yeah, and it's really taken the, for lack of a better term, flow out of the offense.
Look at you. Look at you. Arizona's a weird team because they move the ball. And then when they get certain places, like red zone or past the 40, whatever, it all goes to heck. Like it's really weird. Like they'll move the ball, you think they're in good shape, and then like last game, for instance, they're moving the ball, they look great. Quali has to fumble. They're moving the ball, they look great, and then all of a sudden they run it 2 times in a row and they're punting. Like there's just no, you're right, there's no flow to flow's the word of the day. There's no flow to the offense. And meanwhile, UCF, we talk about identity and we've complained about it before. We know UCF's identity. They're going to run the ball. They've had red zone struggles and they're still putting up 30 points a game. That's why Malzahn, their head coach, gave up play calling duties because they need to be better in the red zone. And if they are like this week, they're going to score 40 points.
And the Arizona's facing a new defensive coordinator this week. That's correct, right?
Yeah. It's funny. Ted Roof was a defensive coordinator for Oklahoma in the Alamo Bowl. So I'm trying to spread the story that he actually quit before having to face Arizona one more time. He was having flashbacks, PTSD from Arizona. But yeah, I don't think it'll be that big of a deal. The play calling will be different, but nothing else will be different for them.
Huge shouts to Kevin on the birthday graphic. I
How
know,
old are you,
big
Erika?
deals.
What are you, like 19 now?
Yeah, I'm actually 20.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. And we're going to continue that, pushing these false agendas for the rest of the show.
No, but there's absolutely people that if you say you're 20, they will believe you.
Yeah, Brian Peterson.
Yes, Brian Peterson pretty much thinks you're like 16 years old. Cody, the first time he met you, asked if you were of drinking age yet already. So,
I guess that means my sunscreen's doing a good job, right?
Do you get carded at places?
I surely do.
Oh.
It's actually kind of offensive at this point. Like, I'm gonna be 30 here in no time at all. Like, can we just move past the ID card?
No, it's good. Once you stop getting carded, it's kind of depressing, actually.
Well, let's get back to Arizona football. Is there anything on the UCF defense that this Arizona identityless offense can exploit?
Not really. No.
And like we talked about this last week that they should be exploiting the passing game, and they did not do that. So I guess I'm looking to see what the keys are for Arizona to be able to win this game.
UCF's run defense isn't great. It's another, like, they have a good defensive line. They have pass rushers a little bit. Like, they've got Hunter and Lawrence who are really good on the interior. So the interior run game, I would be surprised, and it hasn't been good lately, but I would be surprised if this is the game it gets back on track. But UCF has long corners, like 6'2" corners. Like, they're good. They're not a bad defense. They struggled against some teams. BYU, their defense wasn't great, but a lot of that is they're going 3 and out with new quarterbacks and things like that. So their defense, like you mentioned, like West Virginia, we knew that West Virginia's defense coverage with secondary was awful. Pass the ball. This is different. It's not a very good defense, but there's not a very clear weakness that you want to take advantage of.
And I mean, it's a battle between 2, 3, and 5 teams, right? Like a battle to mediocrity. So is Arizona by far the worst, the more terrible 3 and 5 team in this matchup?
Yeah, I mean, Arizona's a 7-point underdog for a reason. Like, you're going all the way across the country. It's a 12:30 Arizona time kick. That's early, especially with the travel. The offense hasn't been able to get on track, and UCF is going to be able to score. UCF, it's funny. It's similar to West Virginia. Like, our UCF publisher picked Arizona to win 31-30, and I said, "There's no way. Like, they're scoring 31 points. That's." Yeah, and maybe they do. I don't know. I would be surprised. But to me, going across the country, struggling offense, injured defense, it kind of feels like they're going to get their butts kicked. Like, if Arizona wins this game, I don't care what it looks like. It's actually a pretty impressive win to be able to go and do that.
I love AZ Wildcats fan comment that says this show smells less like farts today. I would agree with you guys. Less like farts and Del Taco for that matter. Would you say, so you said this would be a pretty impressive win if they win, so it's not a must-win game for you then?
Well, I mean, if they want to make a bowl, it is. Like, because eventually you run out of opportunities. They have 3 wins. They got to win 3 more games. So you would be talking, if they lose this one, they'd have to sweep the season. Like, they'd have to beat Houston, which is very winnable, ASU, and at TCU. So, I mean, if you lose this game, to win 3 in a row all of a sudden, it feels unlikely. So, yeah, I mean, it's a must win, but we're kind of at the point where you're fighting for a bottom tier bowl. Like, that's your goal. So must win is kind of difficult to figure out because it's must win in order to make the Independence Bowl. Otherwise, I think Arizona's at the point of the season where the must wins in order to stay in the Big 12 race, those are gone. This is just a must win to extend, certain players being in Arizona uniforms.
With this game coming up, I mean, do you feel like this team has raised anyone's draft stock this year or lowered anyone's draft stock this year? Do you think that the performance has been poor enough to where T-Mac's draft stock drops, or anyone else's for that matter?
No, not really. I mean, I think T-Mac's draft stock is going to be the same. I think people look at his performance at times and know it's more of a product of the offense. In a way, you could say Tacario Davis has actually helped himself a little. He's been really, really good. West Virginia, I didn't realize this until the other day. West Virginia didn't throw at him once. There were no targets in his direction, which is insane.
And he said he was bored.
Yeah, he said he was bored, and Dwayne Keenan's like, no, it's a sign of respect. Like, he's been really good this season on a defense with the defensive line and such that hasn't really helped him. Other players like Jonas Savaniah, the ability to move to multiple positions on the line, he's still going to be highly regarded. So I guess if there's one player that you could choose, Joseph has it right. I think Wendell Moy has been disappointing this season. He was never going to be a first or second round pick, but you figured maybe middle, maybe late round guy. He has not been good this season.
And I guess to go back to the bowl talk for just a second, what do you think? Could we push the agenda to get them to the Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl?
That would be awesome. It can't happen because of the bowl ties, but that'd be all. It's going to wind up, if they made a bowl, it'd be like the Lawnmower Bowl or the Independence Bowl. It'd be a random bowl against a random team. Not
we can't get them to like the Pop-Tart Bowl. Like, that was so entertaining last
season. The Pop-Tart Bowl would be fun.
I would love a Pop-Tart Bowl.
Yeah, that'd be fun if you get to kill the Pop-Tart. See, that's
shoved.
When you go to the lower bowls, like, you want like the dumbest bowl possible.
Right. I want something absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I would like to see Justin Flo jump in and out of the Pop-Tart toaster.
Oh, that'd be good. I bet you would.
If they didn't let him travel for that, I would have a conniption.
Bowl games, I think, like, I don't know the rule, but I think like everyone gets.
I would be insufferable on socials. Like, Brent Brennan would have to sedate me personally.
I gotta look at bowl projections. I'm gonna get that. The Pop-Tart Bowl, we're gonna get that done. I don't even think Arizona's in the bowl projections anymore. Actually, no.
What?
Well, they have to win 3 of the last 4.
Do you believe in their ability to do that and get us a game in December?
Absolutely not. Let me see. I'm looking at bowls right now.
Okay.
Let's see. Arizona is projected to make ESPN took them out of the projections. They're not even in them anymore.
Well, that is just tough. Yes, Dick Wilson says we need a Del Taco Bowl. I would agree. I think Mike Luke would be just as excited about that as I am. For those of you that don't know, Del Taco is actually the thing that Mike Luke and I bonded over and became friends over in the first place. So it's what got us all here gathered in the first place. So big shouts to Del Taco on that. Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, that's exactly. Well, we became friends by like talking crap about you, and then we bonded over our love for Del Taco.
That's how most people like. I'm looking at the bowls. Like, we got there's so many bad bowls. We got to get Arizona in a bad bowl. I'm looking now.
What's your dream bowl, Scheer?
Famous Idaho Potato Bowl. That's awesome.
No, I would love to be there. Put me in a potato cannon.
That's perfect.
NUTRLs and a potato cannon. I personally feel like I cannot imagine a better bowl game.
That's the one I'm locked in on. I'm trying to get Arizona into the Potato Bowl, and it's on the blue field too. What more do you want?
I don't want the blue field, actually, though. I don't like that field.
I don't know. I feel like my body would react poorly. Oh, here's another one. This one's easy. The Mayo Bowl. Those are the 2. Duke's Mayo Bowl.
It's Duke's Mayo. Okay, I was gonna ask what mayo it was. Okay, well, I guess we know what agendas to push then at this point.
I'm all in.
At least we're all in for something. We have something to look forward to at this point.
Yes.
Well, nonetheless, we've got more Arizona football talk coming up after the break. Scheer, branded bills. Kevin, do you have a branded bills on today? I'm going to be offended if he does not. But nonetheless, elevate your brand with Branded Bills, the perfect headwear and apparel, whether you need snapbacks, truckers, fitted, beanies, or tees. Branded Bills has you covered. Jason, didn't you hit them up for some custom gear?
Yeah. I got a little distracted, but we're going to order it soon. And then they were at the football game, the UofA football game. They had a truck, and they were selling Branded Bills. So they work with Arizona players, too. So they're good. They're good stuff.
Yeah, they have a partnership with ASU, those homies up north, and UofA is part of their campus collection, local company from Mesa, Arizona. Head to brandedbills.com and use code PHNX for 20% off of your first order. My goodness. What's next, Jason Scheer? Do you know?
Oh, we're doing another read? The wave.
It's the wave. Everybody get the wave going in the comments. I know Mike's not here, but he would be pretty mad at us if we didn't continue doing the wave. Listen, Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Personally, I'm going to be there this weekend celebrating my birthday. I love the sports book at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. There's nowhere better in Arizona that I can imagine spending my birthday, if I'm truthful and honest with you guys. Go big or go home a winner. From upscale and approachable to classy and casual. There's just nowhere else I would want to be than Gila River Resorts and Casinos. You can win a Ferrari, earn entries for Ferrari Fortunes every Friday at 7 p.m. Winners are drawn for cash prizes and free bonus play. The grand finale will take place on November 1st. That's today, party people, where one lucky winner will win a Ferrari 488 GTB. You do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Visit play at Gila.com for more details. Kevin is right in the comments. Erika will be dropping an 8-leg parlay at Gila River Resorts and Casinos this weekend. One of my favorite activities to do is drop an absolutely ridiculous parlay and then text Kevin about it. Kevin illusion that it's going to hit, and then you know what never happens? It never hits. Nonetheless, though, it's a fun time, and this weekend I'll be doing it at Gila River Resorts and Casinos while I'm doing the wave.
Look at you. I can't believe you're turning 21.
It's finally legal for me to gamble. I won't have to do it under.
He wants to say hi to his girlfriend. Look, she's right there.
I'm going to be like Mike for a second. Hi, Camden. The not a pug. Hashtag not a pug is back. I don't think Kevin knows the hashtag not a pug lore, which is kind of devastating for him.
No, he knows. He was around, wasn't he?
I don't think so. I think that was still at Jacob Franklin's time.
It got to the point where I had to order the puppy DNA test.
He did. And
my man was a pug.
We still don't believe that he's a pug is the funniest part of the whole situation.
Yes. Even though the DNA test says he's a pug. Brielle was very worried about you last night, by the way.
Why?
She texted me, make sure you tell Erika happy birthday for me. And I said, yes, I know, honey. Don't worry.
You were one of the first people to say it.
I know. It's very important.
It's okay. We're going to, in the next ad read, we've got a lot of birthday talk coming up. I don't know if that's a hint of some foreshadowing on what the next read is, but yeah, hashtag not a pug is still relevant. Are you ready to get to some Arizona basketball talk, though? Because frankly, I'm kind of done with the football season. And not that we can't ever talk about it again, but I would really prefer to just move on to talking about Emmanuel Stephen and the rest of what's going on with the mumbo jumbo with the men's basketball team.
Yeah, it's basketball season. No offense to football. It really is basketball season.
Literally in 3 days.
Yes.
Scheer, are you going to be going to the women's game before the men's game on Monday? It's a double header. You should just come to both.
Oh, is it really?
Yes.
I didn't even know that. Who are the women playing?
You know what? I'm going to be frank with you. I don't know. UT Arlington.
Why Arizona versus Canisius was like, I'm gonna look.
Yeah, it's UT Arlington, actually. They're playing Coy Love. Do you know who that is?
Why did that sound familiar?
She used to play here. She surely did.
I know so much about women's
and then she transferred to USC and did not play literally at all. So
Coy Love is she's been to Vanderbilt, Arizona, and USC. So this is her fourth school in 4 years. That's awesome.
I think 5 years technically, but yeah. I could be wrong. I think this is technically her 5th year.
She averaged 2 points at Arizona and 2 points at USC. Oh, I'm all in on her.
So are you taking UT Arlington over Arizona on Monday? Is that what you're saying?
I don't even
Coy Love revenge game.
I'm gonna do a breakdown of UT. Oh, they got a good player. I'm looking at her now. They're not bad. Oh my God, as long as they win. You got me panicked now. They were
like I said, Coy Love revenge game. You know what I mean?
Oh no. I'm gonna do a full breakdown of this.
Pre-game. Well, back to the men's basketball team, okay? Listen. The expectations for this team, I felt like in the offseason personally were a little bit low. I think I heard you and Mike talking about how this is a rebuilding year and, not to expect the most from this team. But then in these exhibition games, I feel like the expectations have gone back to where they normally are and that this is a Final Four Arizona basketball team.
Yeah, I mean, they looked really good in the exhibitions. The one that really caught my interest, like Eastern New Mexico is basically a high school team. I took nothing from that game. Point Loma is literally a top 5 Division II team. Like, they're good. Like, Tommy Lloyd wasn't BSing when he said this is a good team that runs a lot of different stuff and all that. And they
wanted to win the game.
Yeah.
Like, they came to win.
you could see at the end of the second half when they played well in that little stretch where they cut it to 10, like they are talented, they are capable, and Arizona just whooped them. Like they just absolutely beat the crap out of them. And you look around the country at a lot of these exhibitions and they're closer than they should be, or teams don't look as good. But Arizona's goal was to play with its rotations and get a bunch of different players in there and kick some butt, and they absolutely accomplished that.
And let me ask you something. I mean, are you impressed with the girth of this team at this point in the season?
I can't believe Mulebach said girth live on air. And then Mike's trying to get girth gang going. I can't get
Mike
on.
called me this morning specifically for the girth gang
He
conversation.
called me 3 times this morning. I was sleeping. I got to call him back. But yeah, now I know why he called me. He probably wanted to tell me to use the word girth as much as possible. Should we make fun of Mike for the text yesterday that he sent us?
No, actually, that's exactly what we're going to do right now. So those of you who don't know, yesterday was Halloween, and we get a text message and a tweet notification, mind you, that Mr. Michael Luke thinks that there are a lot of furries located in San Diego, California. And Scheer, what did you respond back to the chat?
I jokingly said, wait until Mike finds out what day it is. And then like a little while
10 minutes go by.
He goes, oh crap, it's Halloween. He didn't know it was Halloween. It was embarrassing. He was very embarrassed. He doesn't usually get embarrassed, but he even said, I feel absolutely stupid now. And I was like, yes, you are stupid. He thought that everyone was dressed up because they were furries.
He sent a picture of someone dressed up as Scooby-Doo thinking that they were a furry, which is absolutely wild. Like, come on. Nonetheless, though, huge shouts to Mike. And like Anthony says in the comments, hit the like button so it has more likes than when Mike hosts. I think that's a really good goal to have for this pod. Subscribe to PHNX, become a diehard, and also hit the like so that we can outdo whatever Mike's numbers normally are.
Correct. Do it now, everybody, right now.
Well, I told you we were going to talk about this, but Emmanuel Stephen, the possibility of a red shirt, it's imminent. It feels like at this point. What are your thoughts on this?
I think he has to red shirt. I mean, I guess he doesn't have to, but if the best, and I heard this from the coaches like a month ago, they don't dislike Emmanuel Stephen. Like they think he has talent. He's very raw right now. Like you notice in the 2 exhibitions, he fouls way too much. He doesn't pick up on some of the offensive cues. He's kind of a freelancer a little bit on defense, but he's physically very capable and all that. For his development, similar to like an Umar Balo situation, for his development, redshirting would be the best idea. And you got to think he's really not playing this year anyway very much with Krevis and Awaka and now Henry's emergence as well. It just, hopefully he's open to it. Redshirting isn't very common. Arizona does a great job with being able to convince guys to redshirt and not give up on them. A lot of teams will not redshirt guys because they feel it's kind of a wasted scholarship, or if a guy's not good enough, let him transfer anyway. By Arizona redshirting a guy like Henry, by redshirting a guy like Stephen, it's saying, look, we do believe in you. This is the path you have to take in order to be successful. So I assume that conversation comes up soon if it hasn't happened already. And I think for the best path for his career, a redshirt would be a great idea.
And I mean, that's exactly what Tommy was saying. Like for his development, it would be exactly for the best. And Arizona's done a great job, especially with redshirting specifically bigs. I mean, the development of him would benefit greatly from redshirting under Tommy.
I mean, look at Henry, right? And he calls it, like Henry even calls it a double redshirt year because of the injury and then the actual redshirt season. And he said it was huge for him. Like he got stronger. It's very clear he's gained weight. It's very clear he's healthy now. And I know Stephen is healthy, but they still want to put some weight on him. Like he still needs to gain 10 pounds or so. And, you do that, you work against a really good centers and a couple of them go pro or leave Arizona. And all of a sudden you're right there in the rotation. And Tommy, from my experience and from what I know, I think Tommy is one of the most player-oriented coaches I've ever seen, in the sense where he does not give up on guys. Like other coaches, Henry would not be on Arizona if they had another coach. I can say that very confidently. He believes in Conrad Martinez when a lot of people don't. And he's more often right than wrong. Like Henry looks good to start the season. And so if he goes to Emmanuel and says, I think if you redshirt, you're going to be a good player. From my perspective, at least, if I'm Emmanuel, I'm listening because the guy has my best interests at heart and he's usually right.
Well, and then to answer Edgar's question in the comments, does it seem like this team as a whole is locked in more on the defensive end? Would you say that that's the case with this particular team that Tommy's built?
Yes and no. I think that because of the way it's built, they're able to do more defensively than they were in the past. Like they're able to be a little more aggressive than they were last season. And Tommy said something similar. KJ Lewis said that this year's team is going to be much better. His words, much better defensively than last year's team. And I asked Tommy about that. And he said, "Yeah, there's a good shot. They're not there yet, but they're going to be able to do more things." There's a couple individuals that have to get better on defense. Anthony Delorso has been bad defensively the first 2 games. I don't think people notice because he's good offensively, but his defense has not been good enough. But that's something a lot of times like you transfer from like a Campbell or somewhere like that where you're not necessarily asked to defend as much, and you go to an Arizona where that challenge is much greater and much more prominent. Sometimes that takes time to adjust. But I think in terms of defensive versatility, this is probably Tommy's best team that he's had here.
Well, and I think to talk about Delorso for a second, I mean, dude literally said yesterday that the largest crowd he thinks he's played in front of is 8,500 people, which is crazy. And he's going to be consistently playing in front of how many at McHale?
Yeah, like
13-5?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
Campbell was a bad team. Like it's just like it, and that's what makes those evals even harder. Like Campbell was bad. They played like a Princeton offense and they didn't defend, which makes no sense. It's a bad matchup when you do that. A lot of times when you don't defend, you just try to get up and down the court. They did it. They tried to slow you down, which made no sense. So he's getting really good coaching here. He's in a different role. There's a transition period, and a lot of guys don't make it. You look around some of the exhibitions, for instance, and there's guys that have come from smaller schools like Will Kyle at UCLA have struggled so far. He was really good where he was, and at UCLA, the competition's different. It's just a different world, and a lot of times that transition takes longer, and a lot of times it doesn't even happen because those players aren't able to do it. I think Del Orso will be fine. It's just going to take a little bit of time.
with this particular team that Tommy's built, last season in the postseason, even in the Pac-12 tournament, it kind of felt like it was Caleb or bust, where if Caleb wasn't having a good game, Arizona could not win the game. Do you feel that this team is going to be built that same way late in the season?
No, it's a much different team, and I think that you see it in a different Caleb. And Tommy Lloyd has been vocal by saying, "Look, there's going to be games where Caleb scores 25, and that's great, but we don't need him taking 25 shots. That's not what's best for this team. KJ Lewis, Bradley, Del Orso, Townsend, like it's going to be a very balanced team. And that's speaking of adjustments, like that's an adjustment that Caleb is going to have to make. Like there's going to be games where he kind of probably falls back into bad habits a little bit, but he has a chance to be really, really efficient. Probably the most efficient he's been in his career if he just kind of listens to Tommy and uses the guys around him, because this is a very balanced offensive team. Like there's going to be guys, this is a situation where they could have 4 different guys, be high scorers in 4 different games. Like it's not that type of team. And I'm curious when the game counts what Caleb Love looks like. But I like what I've seen so far. And yeah, he struggled a little bit with the shot, but that's another adjustment. Like you're not taking threes off the bounce and stuff like that. More of a spot up shooter and then getting fouled and taking it to the lane. So I think it's a bad thing if this winds up being a team where Caleb has to carry the entire offense.
For sure. Well, I know Kevin probably thinks I've forgotten about the rooting guide, but nonetheless, don't you guys worry. After this break, we will get to the rooting guide and much, much more. Like I said, my birthday today, this weekend. And how do you think I will be celebrating?
Circle K?
Close. NUTRL. I will be celebrating with I will keeping it tasty in Tucson with a pineapple NUTRL all evening long. If you catch me down there, don't say hello. I will be only saying hello to NUTRLs all night long. This is a public service announcement for hard seltzer lovers. NUTRL vodka seltzer has arrived. Listen, you hear me talk about it. You can go to Bourbon Bent, have one with me tomorrow. Nonetheless, we keep it tasty in Tucson, and it's very good seltzer. Okay, Kobe Altheo's favorite flavor is orange. My favorite flavor is pineapple. There's a ton of good stuff on the NUTRL menu. So keep NUTRLs around. Keep it tasty, Tucson. NUTRL light and refreshing taste will show you what a vodka seltzer can be. NUTRL, keep it tasty, enjoy responsibly. 2024 Anheuser-Busch NUTRL flavored vodka carbonation from St. Louis, Missouri. Same place as Kevin L. Thomas. Lots of good things coming from St. Louis. But now, Circle K, the inner circle. All good things. We've done nothing but talk about great things so far today on this episode. America's Thirst Stop. Join the inner circle. Free membership program. Easy to download. You can get your 79-cent Polar Pops, 25 cents off a gallon on your first 5 fill-ups once you become an inner circle member, and then 3 cents a gallon every day after that, plus plenty of other member exclusive deals. I love Circle K. That's where I went this morning to get my wonderful energy drink that is going to end up killing me at 35. Nonetheless, though, enjoy your member exclusive beverage deal. Inner Circle members like you can get any size Polar Pop or Froster for just 79 cents. Join the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit circlek.com for details.
I thought you went with the 11 a.m. NUTRL. I was going to be proud of you.
Maybe like 11:45 once I've posted the audio and, yeah.
When we did trick-or-treating last night, we combined with our neighbors and we handed out candy, and our neighbors hand out Coors Light to adults.
Listen, I'm not going to sit here and talk too much about the Blue Mountains, but, our good friends over at CHGO have the Blue Mountain ad reads, and I'm a little jealous. And I just want to say, when the mountains are blue, I'm cool. Okay, so
I never thought about it. It's just, we'll go unnamed beer, right? They're just handing out beer to the adults, and they took it. We went through a whole 30-pack.
Did you get a beer, Scheer?
I did not.
I've only seen you drink one time, and it was one of the best nights of my life. Actually, you know what? That's a lie. I've seen you drink twice. We have been to Vegas together. You're so right.
Yeah.
Well, nonetheless, let's pull up this rooting guide. We got some things to talk about because, first of all, our good friends, ASU, they take on the Cowboys this weekend. Oklahoma State. I'm a huge Oklahoma State fan already. Not even gonna lie to you guys. The Cowgirls are one of my favorite Big 12 teams in all of the Big 12, I guess. So I'm already pulling for them automatically, but then they're playing our good enemies up north, I guess, if that's what we're going to call them. So huge shouts, go Oklahoma State. And then also we got to talk crap about Smelly Rainy Seattle. I should have worn my Smelly Rainy Seattle shirt on air today. I'm not even going to lie to you guys. It does feel kind of sacrilegious to say I'm pulling for USC. I won't lie.
It's gross, but we have to do it.
But yeah, it's just what we have to do.
Nailed it. USC, UW, rooting for the meteor.
Earthquake.
It's like a little, like, not a serious illness, but like an illness breaks through, breaks out and they can't play the game.
Everyone gets a really bad cold.
Yeah.
Not a flu, just a really bad cold. But then obviously Arizona takes on UCF, and let's do some score predictions. Scheer, I haven't done one in like 2 weeks now. So I am gonna choose positivity, joy, and light on this fine Friday morning and say that Arizona is gonna give me a birthday W, and they're gonna win 28-23.
Yeah, I'm very negative this week for many reasons. Football, life, just all of it. So I actually predicted Arizona to get blown out. I do not have a good feeling about this game whatsoever. Hopefully I'm wrong, but a lot would have to go right for Arizona to win this game. So I believe I picked 31-14 UCF. Yeah, I think
Jesus.
Because here's the thing, like, if Arizona gets down, UCF just runs the ball. Running quarterbacks have killed Arizona this season, as well as that defense has played. No matter what quarterback they have, they're gonna run. And then RJ Harvey is the best running back in the conference. It's a bad matchup for Arizona.
So you don't really see a whole lot of avenues for Arizona to win this game. You think the defense is going to get tired, and then next thing you know, we're getting blown out.
The only way Arizona wins this game is if the defense contains UCF's offense, because you're not getting in a shootout and winning a game. Arizona, there's just no proof that Arizona could go and do that, let alone travel across the country in an earlier game and do that. The defense has to play well.
Okay, well, what I will say, I'm going to give like Mike says in the comment, a beacon of light during uncertain times. I'm going to say one thing that I do think will come positively out of this game. I do not believe we see Tyler Loop miss a kick at all this weekend.
Tyler Loop is definitely missing a kick now. You can't say stuff like that, Erika.
I'm going to say it.
Man, someone in Orlando posted on the message board that they ran into the Loop family. And I'm sure you know how that experience went.
The greatest people that literally to ever exist on the planet of the earth.
Yeah, they are the best. Like, they really are the best people.
I don't think that anyone quite understands how much fun I've had pre-gaming, tailgating with the Loops ahead of Arizona football games. It's going to be something I greatly miss during basketball season. I will not cap.
There's like one of those, there's always like a couple players that you really miss when they're gone, right? Tyler Loop is going to be one of those guys because you're right. Like
Sunday kicker.
Yeah. Really nice kid, great interview. He came up to me a couple weeks ago before this happened, actually, was like, hey, just tell your dad I'm thinking of him, blah, blah, like randomly. Like, I didn't even know how he would know that, social media or whatever, but like just the coolest family ever.
Yeah, no, genuinely really, really good people. I'm sure a lot of you guys think we're blowing smoke, but no, the Loops are incredible people. What's up, Kevin?
Yeah, I just wanted to add to the Tyler Loop Love Fest. We're going to miss that guy when he's not here. Because having a kicker that you can, every time he goes up to the tee, you feel like it's automatic. Like, man, I'm going to miss that, Because I don't want to have like a 40-yard field goal and be like,
Is it going in?
Yeah. So the reliability of a kicker, I feel like we see it every weekend. Some team have control of their own destiny, and then a kicker ruins it for them. So, yeah, Tyler Loop, we will miss you for sure when you're not playing for in Arizona Wildcat uniform.
He's not an easy replace either. Like who do we pull in for Tyler Loop?
I think it would be Salgado Medina.
So it's not Cash Peterman.
It's not Cash. I know you want it. That's another guy. Is Cash traveling? Do we know? I assume he is.
I think Cash always travels. I'm not going to lie. They can't let the TikToker stay at home.
Well, they might have let him travel to BYU because of the history there, because he was on BYU. So I'm curious if he travels. I would assume because is he technically the backup kicker?
I don't think so. I do not. I think he's like third or fourth on the depth chart for kicking.
Let me get to the bottom of this. You'd rather have Flo travel than Cash, right?
I would rather have Flo travel than yeah. Yeah, I'm like
I'd rather have Flo travel than Noah Fafita. So
well, I was gonna say it, but I didn't want to just sound ridiculous, so I was just gonna let it be what it is. That I do need Flo to travel. Yeah, I think it's an abomination by this coaching staff again to just leave the vibes high and dry at home. It's just a horrible take. They have plenty of them, but this has to be top 3 worst takes by this coaching staff.
I want to promise you something here. If the energy is off, like they just look out of it, there's no excitement or anything, and they get their butts kicked, I will ask if they've considered bringing Flo just for energy reasons.
Thank you. No, and if you don't ask, I'm in the room now. I will ask. Yeah. Brent Brennan will be. Yeah. Hello. What's going on with the vibes? Because this is unacceptable at this point. And it doesn't feel like there's anything that anyone else on the team can do to restore them. Flo is the only answer here.
Flo's a maniac, and I mean that in a good way. But there's only one guy like him on the whole team. Like Chuba's a great guy, but he's not like Flo energy. Like Flo,
Chuba can only yell. He can't jump as high as Flo. Period.
Right, like Flo's energy is just wild, and then you realize all it is like a kickoff return. Like you need that.
Nonetheless, back to basketball. I know that's what the people are really here for. Okay.
Michael Luke, I ignored both your calls. I was sleeping. I'll call you back after this.
He'll be just fine. He ignores my calls a lot too.
Yes, so. I realize everyone, this beard game is out of control. I haven't had time to cut it. I'm not cutting in until Arizona football wins a game. I've decided.
So what if they lose out?
If they lose out, I will shave it after the season because I'm not doing that stuff. But
everyone comment down below that Scheer looks less bald today. That was my first comment to him when he got on the stream for us.
I'm hiding it. It actually looks more bald when I have hair because like the patch is more obvious. The landing pad is more obvious.
I think it looks good. I think you look less old today, if you ask me personally.
Thank you. The beard is the longest it maybe has ever been.
Maybe we should dye your beard, though.
Brielle has asked that every day. She wants to dye my beard. And I say
Do
no.
you think that Mike is extra confused and thinks you're a furry because of your extra facial hair?
That's a good point. Probably
Maybe
get a
that's why he's
whole,
calling you so often.
It's possible. Erika
What?
backhanded compliment day. No,
The
Erika always
losing
makes
8-leg
Mike
parlays.
knows. Mike knows. Erika always makes fun of me for being bald.
You're right. It's just something I do. I'm never going to be bald, so I have to make fun of you for being bald.
Yeah, it's fine. I've accepted it.
I feel like it's only fair.
Yeah, why not?
All right. Well, back to Arizona basketball. Do you think that this is the deepest team that Tommy Lloyd has had since he's been in Arizona?
Well, by far. I don't even think it's close. The only position where lack of depth bothers me is point guard. Again, like should Jaden Bradley get hurt or get in foul trouble or whatever, I'm not a big fan of moving Caleb Love to the point. Post depth, I mean, just look at the exhibitions, right? Like Krivitz hasn't even seen the court. Oh, I mean, we're talking Awaka, Townsend, Carter Bryant, etc. And Krivitz hasn't even seen the court. So up front, there's a ton of depth. You got Del Orso, who's very capable of playing off the bench at the wing position. The point guard is the one that bothers me a little bit, but I like the overall depth of this team for sure.
I'm sorry to go back to this for the umpteenth time, but Aaron's comment. Who cares if Flo sucks in pass coverage? The defense is decimated. Arizona isn't playing for anything this year. If he plays well or plays bad, it doesn't matter anyways. Just play Flo. Finally, someone who gets it. It's not that hard. It's not.
It's not.
I mean, right.
Who
But
I talk to?
I think, there's a certain coach whose birthday is also today named Fletcher. I think maybe you could reach out to Fletcher, let him know how important it is.
Did you see who else's birthday it is?
Oh, yeah. You know what? We haven't even talked about this. The best SID in the state.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Tamaro.
Yeah, Doug Tamaro.
And you know what?
Yeah.
I've done us a disservice because I have the world's best picture with Doug, and I would be making Kevin put it on the screen for us, but I have done us all a horrible, horrible disservice and didn't send it to Kevin in time. But this picture of Doug and I'll tweet it out after. It's in Vegas. He's doing the forks up. I'm doing the bear down. It's an epic, epic picture. Meeting Doug was one of the best. It was one of the highlights of my year in its entirety. And to find out that Doug and I share the same birthday, it's just two goats in the state of Arizona just doing
Really
goat
is.
things on November 1st.
Doug is the best. I remember Shelby and I had to pick up a credential, and I was coming back from California, and I was driving, and I was like, dude, can I just pick it up? And he walks like across campus to get me the credential. And I pick it up in my car, and he's like, open it. I was like, well, it's a credential. I'm not going to open it. He goes, open it. And I open it, and there's it's a newspaper page of ASU beating Arizona with Cambridge's half-court shot. And he thought it was the funniest thing. And I was like, he's just like, I was like, you're an ass. And then, yeah, it's Doug's the best, and he gives beer. He gives beer to you when you go to cover ASU games.
He's basically just note made to go cover ASU games.
Yeah, if you cover ASU games, he comes by with a beer from Pittsburgh. I forget what it's called. It's great.
He gives everyone like custom beer, like what?
He just beer, just some kind of beer. It's good. I'll get the name of it right now.
Do you think he'll do that when I cover Arizona ASU women's basketball?
I'd assume it's just NUTRL, but maybe beer's in the picture.
I'll make sure to request
Arizona.
NUTRL.
He knows when you cover Arizona, you better drink, or else you just can't do
it. So, more Arizona basketball talk to come up after the break. Jason.
Yes.
Sanderson Ford.
Yes.
I know this is one of your favorites. Right.
Imagine Justin Flo in a Sanderson Ford.
I don't think we need to imagine it. I think it already exists.
Like, whenever someone says, like, how much masculinity could be in one place at one time, I won't even answer the question unless it involves Sanderson Ford.
Exactly. Sanderson Ford is a proud partner of the Arizona Diamondbacks and is proud to be our vehicle sponsor. Head to Sanderson Ford now and check out the new F-150 trucks with 3.9 financing for 60 months, plus up to $4,000 cash back and pick up a free pair of tickets to see Weezer, Sublime, and more at November nights while supplies last. No purchase or test drive is required. Offer on the 2024 F-150 STX OAC from Ford Credit. 1 pair of tickets per household and requires a valid driver's license. Do they know I'm not old enough to drive yet?
Yeah, it's really weird. Do you even know who Weezer is?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, you know who Sublime is, right?
I sure do.
Okay, just making sure, just confirming we're on the same page here.
Yeah, and in fact, I'll be going to Sanders Support after this is over to get my free pair of tickets.
Yeah, that's a big deal. I didn't know they were in a concert. I'm gonna have to look into that.
You want to go together, Scheer?
It's a possibility. Yeah, I have to buy the girls tickets to Tyler the Creator first, and then go from there.
Maybe you should just buy 3 and I'll be their chaperone.
That's a possibility.
Well, you know what you could do where you could buy those tickets, Scheer?
Game time.
It's your time. Your time to shine is here, Scheer.
Actually, Erika has a great idea. My daughters have been on me to get a Sabrina Carpenter tickets and Tyler the Creator tickets, and I said there's none available. And then Erika just reminded me that I could go to Game Time and get $28 off my first purchase with the code PHNX. Very exciting. That's a really good idea.
It is, and you can buy 3, and you've got me a birthday present all in one.
Sabrina Carpenter tickets, the prices of them are insane. So I'm going to go to Game Time and check that out. They're like $260 a ticket.
Take the guesswork.
He's
cheap.
Tyler's only like 120, 130.
What do you think Young Thug tickets are going to cost once he's...
It doesn't matter. We're there. We're there.
Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code PHNX for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code PHNX for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time.
Proud of you.
We've killed it today, Scheer. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. We've actually slayed this.
Look, if Mike is out of a job tomorrow, I think we know why.
Between me and Saul, I mean, the filler ins for Mike are just the goats. Nonetheless, though, a little more men's basketball talk before we move on to talking about the gals. What do you envision for the Girth Gang? Trey Townsend, Tobe Awaka, the bigs on this team.
It's built really well for the Big 12 because when you take a look, it is a big physical conference. You look at the size of this team. Like Trey Townsend he's 6'6". You're like, oh, that's not that big. And then you realize he's built he's 235, like it says there.
Yeah, he's a big dude, you guys.
Yeah.
I've sat right next to him. He's a large man.
Yeah, and when Erika's looking in his eyes and gets lost in his eyes, like she does, he's a man of girth, And you take a look at Henry and Awaka and all that. Arizona's not going to get pushed around. They're not, and that's a difference than maybe if you I thought Clemson last year pushed Arizona around a little bit. I don't think that would have been the case with this year's team.
I see people asking me to explain Tyler the Creator, and I unfortunately am not the best person for that job. I feel as though Brielle would do a much, much better job at that than I do.
Old Tyler stuff. I don't know if the girls. Aurora listens to a lot of Tyler.
My favorite Tyler the Creator song is Earthquake, and I don't know if you've. It's not a good song. So
the other day, I say this, you'll like this. Brielle dances, like she makes up her own dances. And you know this. And Brielle's dancing in the other room. And she doesn't really listen to the songs. She just picks it by beat. And so she's listening to this Chaperone song. And I'm listening to the lyrics. And it's basically about relations in a car. And it is graphic.
Oh, I already know what song you're listening
to. And I go, and all of a sudden I'm like, girl, are you listening to the lyrics? And she goes, no, why? I go, because you're gonna need to turn this song off. This is not happening. This is very awkward for all of us right now. So it was mortifying, but yeah. So
two things that mortified Brielle this weekend: the starting lineup for exhibitions for Arizona women's basketball, and
she was yelling at me.
And you know what? I'm going to defend this for a second because Isis Bay has been very good for this Arizona women's basketball team, and I will not have the slander regarding Isis. I mean, for freak's sake, she had a 33-point game in an Arizona uniform last year. And if you would have asked me at the beginning of the season who I would have gandered to have a 33-point game inside of McHale, Isis Bay was not on the list. Nonetheless, she kicked ass for this team at multiple stretches in this year. And, I'm sorry to all of the older people that are unfamiliar with what Snapchat is, but I did review my Snapchat memories this morning, and they were playing in an exhibition a year ago today, and Arizona had 5 players available for this exhibition. So I think that we should all just be kind of thankful that we have a full Arizona women's basketball roster to look forward to watching play in the Big 12, because this is going to be a gauntlet of a season for them. Yes, the Big 12 is tough in men's basketball. I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys otherwise, but this women's basketball conference is no joke, and Arizona has a real opportunity to either take names and go to the top of the picking order here, or they can flounder and finish 7th.
What were they? I was gonna say, were they picked to finish 7th?
Yeah, sure were.
You were telling me that was about right? Like you thought that was,
especially after the exhibitions. I really see the vision here with 7th. I think this is a really young team, and I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing for them. And doesn't even necessarily mean that it's an unexperienced team, because a lot of the young players have played a lot more minutes than were expected of them in their freshman year due to some of the roster shortages for Arizona last season. Nonetheless, though, they gained some experience and with guard play in the portal, and I think they have an opportunity to be really competitive in the Big 12. I think that they need to take their non-conference schedule and learn a lot from it and decide really who is going to be the Big 5 on this team. And I see Edgar's comment, Montea Dew is coming back with a fury, and I would love to believe that this is a case. The thing is with Montea that worries me, she has not actually played a basketball game in over 2.5 years. And I know that's what Brielle was freaking out about, is why isn't Taya in the starting lineup? The bottom line is that she literally is not in basketball shape. She's in good shape, but she's not in basketball game playing shape. And she's not going to be for the first few weeks of this season. And it's going to be an adjustment for her to be back on the court playing real basketball and not just being in practice. And yeah, losing Puello is a huge hit to this team, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the guard play is going to take a huge hit. I think that Jada Williams is going to have a breakout season this year. I think we are going to see multiple 25+ point games from Jada Williams in McHale, on the road, here, there, and everywhere. I think Jada is going to be all over the place. And the other big thing for Arizona is Brea Cunningham has learned how to stay in games. I think that is huge. When you have your starting center fouling out a record, I want to say she had 160 fouls last season, which is egregious. Just putting it plain. I could be wrong, and it could be 106.
I'm looking right now. She fouled out of the game, because that's what I was going to say too. She fouled out of 10 games, which is just wild.
Which was a record number for a Pac-12 freshman. Which is I love breaking records. I love Brea. I don't want to see her break that record. Yeah,
129 fouls.
I knew it was a lot.
And the problem with that is, like, she's good. Like, she's right. And so when you're good and you can't stay on the court, like, that changes everything. So, like, she has to stay. Like, that to me, when I look at it, and look, I'm not an expert like you are, but when I was watching games with Bree last year, like, Brea would come in, get 2 buckets, you'd be like, okay, here we go. And then she'd be on the bench 2 minutes later with 3 fouls. Like, there's got to be a balance there, because if she can stay on the court, she's going to impact games.
Yeah. I love Edgar's comment. Does Ari still have eligibility? Unfortunately, the answer is no. Ari does not still have eligibility, but yeah, Matthew's right. They need Brea to win. Brea is the key, and I've been saying this for like 1.5 years now. In my opinion, Brea is the key to success for this Arizona women's basketball team. There's just so much that she's able to do, and last season I heard Adia talk about them getting out rebounded every day. Every time I listened to Adia talk, it was about how they were getting out rebounded. Brea is the key to that not continuing to happen. So they need to stay healthy. I think that there is a bigger opportunity here for them than last season. Not that the Pac-12 was bad last year, but the Big 12 is likely going to be the best women's basketball conference in the country, and it's going to be the most competitive, where any team can win on any given night. And Arizona has some real work cut out for them with their schedule.
Yeah, it could go real bad real fast if Arizona's not careful. It's one of those conferences. So and this is a big year for Adia. It's a big year for the team. It's it's
it is a big year.
It's just a big year all the way around.
Who's tops defensively on our Arizona women's basketball team? I would say in the exhibitions, I was most impressed with the sticky fingers from Paulina Paris. I think that she's going to be the biggest difference from last season to this season is just Paulina's willing to take shots. And with Arizona's guard play in previous seasons, they've had Helena Puello did not want to shoot the ball. And I don't think that this is going to be the same team in that this is going to be a scoring Adia Barnes basketball team, which is something that I don't believe we've seen in the last few years.
Yeah. I mean, when you take a look, and that's important because God knows we've complained about the offenses that this team has run. And a lot of it is just people wanting to take shots. Like they just passed around the ball way too much and no one wanted to shoot it. So being able to shoot it and getting girls that, want to score, as silly as that sounds, is going to be a big deal for this team.
Well, Scheer, I mean, we've done it all today, and I think we've done some great work. Where can the people find you over the weekend?
Wildcat Scoop podcast with Shelby and wildcatauthority.com as well.
Well, you can find me at Bourbon and Bent tomorrow watching the UCF game. You can also find me over on Twitter at Erika Lee Day, and you can follow the show on socials at PHNX_Wildcats. It's been real. It's been fun. It's been really freaking fun. Huge shouts to Mike for letting me host the show today, and huge shouts to Scheer for joining me on this fine Friday morning. Jesus.
Did great, Erika. Proud of you.
Thanks all of you for the birthday wishes, and I will see you guys next time.
Thank you.
We all silly like the mayor.